So a trip out looking for a new kitchen table to go in our house turns into some really good finds of stuff, including one of the best scores I've gotten in a very long time. We're gonna look at some things that showed up by accident. Now, I went out looking for an antique kitchen table. I actually went to meet somebody. It was near a mall. I actually went in and waited for him at an antique place and actually found some really good things. We're gonna take a look at what I found, including one of the best scores I've made in a very long time. So let's just start off with a couple little small items. This was $10.84 for what you see right here. Now, this may not look like much to the normal person or someone who hasn't been into collectibles for a little while. Obviously, these are printing plates right here, and this is actually for printing fabric. $3, that's exactly what I paid for it. It was marked as a floral fabric stamper. And that's Ganesh. That's basically a god. It would be tied to Hinduism. It's a nice piece. For $3, I should easily be able to get 25 to say $45 just because of the figure that's on it. Now, this is hand-carved wood. This isn't just a piece of junk or stamped on or anything else like that. This is actually a hand-carved piece of wood. It's old. It's probably at least 110, 20, 30 years old or somewhere in there, I would guess. It's early. It's a nice representation. Instantly recognizable by me. You can see the trunk and the whole works. There's the inner eye and just a spectacular piece. This would be something that would be very attractive to, designers and things like that right this very second. Now, the other two items here are pretty cool as well. Let's show you the bigger one first. I kept all the tags on them. This was another place that I went to looking for a kitchen table. It's mostly all furniture, but once in a while I've been in there and found some little small knick-knack or something that was worth some good money. We found salt and pepper shakers out there too, but again, it's mostly furniture and stuff, designer stuff, but we're looking for furniture, so it wasn't like I'm looking for this. Printer's plate, lead on cherry wood, Libby Owens Ford. Now, it says circa 1939, but I would date this to the 20s or so by the information and some of the other stuff that's stated on it. Now, this is a manufacturing invoice, basically, template to print one. It was $4 for crying out loud. Libby Owens Ford, a very well-known glass place up here, highly collectible. I could literally roll ink and actually print one to show what this plate does as my the listing itself. This should easily get me 35 to, geez, I could almost say maybe even $75 for something like this for a printing plate with the official Libby Owens Ford, header at the top and the whole works too. So I should be able to date this by some of the books that we actually have in house here. I run into a lot of the stuff. It's a local company, so that stuff does turn up. And this other one was only $3. But what again it is for the state of Oklahoma. And this is like a pensioner's benefit claim form that they would have used to print them that would have been handed out at every, state office at one point. These are the actual printing plates for that. I've never run into one for like a state facility like this. Again, it's old, it's defunct, it doesn't exist what they do or how they do it or any of that stuff like that. So these are both safe to sell. I can't make copies or anything else like that, but these are good items. This one I'm expecting at least 35 or 40 bucks, for this one as well. Maybe even more. I'll probably put 75 on it and just see what happens because it's a really cool piece. I was really impressed that these were there. I actually passed on one because it didn't have enough information for me to ID or get a potential date on it. The other, these other two items here were very dateable. I've had, I don't know, a couple dozen of these in the last year or so. Not like this specific one, but similar types of, hand-carved wood blocks and things. Just like printing letters that are all carved out of wood with different fonts. We've made thousands and thousands, probably close to 10 grand just on printing letters just in 1 month time frame in the past before. So I always grab up printing stuff. Always, 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 always. Excellent items. I mean, cherry wood, they're really nice pieces. They're really early. They're in excellent condition. Still even usable, all three of those. And that's the key. This one, someone will probably still use. Those one will be probably printed. Who knows? Maybe a museum may even want them. No, I was out. I actually had to meet somebody. I wanted to look at a table in person. I wanted to check out the chairs and the whole works. Make sure it would fit, make sure it was the right size, make sure everything was in good condition. I don't care about the price as much as the type. We've looked at hundreds of tables. So I went to another place and met somebody, and next door to it was an antique, I guess you'd say some sort of mall. I've never been into it. It's way on the other side of town. I didn't even know it existed, honestly, until I saw an ad on Facebook Marketplace for the table. So I turned up some really good stuff, including something that I've been, hoping to run across one of these days for years. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute here. Now, here is the actual receipt for it. You can see I didn't have my tax ID with me. Again, I wasn't looking to source. I should have known better. I've never been there before. She didn't know who I was, so obviously I couldn't use it. But now, leather coat's the item that I was really intrigued to get. I'll tell you about the price-wise in a minute here, because I only paid 15 bucks for it. And then I bought some airplane parts, gas-powered engines and things like that, $61. And then I found medals with crosses, and I'll show you what that is here. Something that's very rare and very scarce that I've never personally ran into myself, but anyway. So I spent $84.15 on what I'm going to show you right now. All the airplane parts were half off. The leather coat was half off, but I think they messed up on that one. Now, these are the bags here. Let me get this out here. Now, I've done extremely well with miniature and tether cars, tether planes, and things like that throughout the years. I've sold every single one that I've ever gotten in my entire life, has sold and made us a lot of good money. Now, I don't know every single model. I don't know all the other things, ins and outs of all of these sorts of things. I know what the parts are. I know the basic model names. I know how to look them up, though, which is the key factor here. Everything, all the plane parts I'm going to show you total were $61. One of these engines alone could get me $61 plus. And these are from, again, a dealer. You can see the tags. Again, everything was half off. So this motor here was $6 right there. Just the parts. If I took this apart, I could sell just the parts. It's got a black, actually it's a dark green head. So the head itself here, the top part here, being that it's colored, is an earlier one and more desirable than a stock one. What's the price on this one here? This one was $15, so $7.50 for this one. Again, these are all motors to gas-powered miniature tether cars, they could be, or airplanes. And you have one of these engines will probably, this one was $10, so this is a $5 engine. $20 is the cheapest I ever sell these for. So you can take that $61 I spent on all of these and at least probably double or triple what I'll get out of them all at the end of the day. The prices they had on them, the full-fledged, full price, $12, it was probably worth it at 12 bucks. I could have still more than doubled my money on every one of these. So being half off, I bought a whole bunch of them. I pulled out any that weren't seized up. If the engines are seized up where you can't spin them, don't buy them, because it means that there's no compression and who knows what's wrong with them. Again, there's some nice ones in here. So this one was $5. Little cleanup on these. They'll look like $1 million compared to how they look right this minute. This is probably a thimble or something like that, $5. This one's probably worth 15 or so on its own. So I got one engine, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got $6.14 into each one of the engines when you weigh them out. Even some of the propellers on these are better ones. They're vintage, they're early. Just the propellers might be worth some good money. And this isn't seized up because they spin nicely. So I checked every one of these. I left some motors, some engines down there that were seized up. If they're seized up, I don't mess with them. So again, one of these engines alone, they had other parts. There were some mufflers and things in there, but I just picked the parts I knew I could move really quickly. I didn't have to worry about IDing or anything else like that. All of these have names or markings on them where I can determine the maker and the whole thing. Yeah, like this is a thimble drone here. There's probably 250 or better in engines right there. Again, I've sold them for years. I've been buying and selling miniature engines. Whenever I run into them, I've probably sold 200 or 300 at least at this point. They've always made me a lot of money. Now, another item on here, the metal pen that you can see on the slip here that I spent $2.10 on is right here. And now the reason I bought this one here, let's see how well you can see it on there, is because of the cross pin on there. Now at the top of that cross pin, it says Ad Altari Day, and that is actually a Boy Scout pin. And I know that because I earned the Ad Altari Day, which is a Catholic religious medal through the Boy Scouts, and I was one of the few in our entire district that had it. So it's a rare thing to have to begin with. Just the standard version of the medal goes for $75 or so if it's in excellent condition with the box. This is like a mother's pin maybe, or a custom pin or something. I don't know really. I've never seen one that small, but that's without a doubt what it is. Yeah, it's identical in every way to the Boy Scouts BSA Ad Altari Day religious medal. So that's what that is, I would say, without a doubt whatsoever. I'm going to at least put, say, $57.50 or so on that regardless. It is vintage. It does look like it's an original earlier one too, so that's a good piece without a doubt. Now, my favorite find of the day, I'm actually wearing. This is what it is right here on me. I'm going to take it off in just a second here. But what this is a 1960s or so New York City police officers, motorcycle police officers, leather jacket. This is the real deal. It's a real one. You saw I paid 15 bucks for this thing. Now, I've got probably 50 leather jackets at this point that all fit me. This is another one that now fits me. I usually only buy leather jackets if I'm going to keep them. And I was originally going to sell this one, but this one was on sale for 30 bucks. I actually talked to the lady about trying to get a package deal on the airplane engines and the rest of the parts. There's more parts there, but they wouldn't do it. So I just bought the ones I wanted. And I asked her about this jacket, and it was supposed to be 30 bucks, no other discount. But when I go out and check out, I get home, I pull the receipt out for this video, I realized she only charged me 15 bucks for it. So the jacket actually had a $100 price tag on it, and even at 100 bucks, that's a good deal for something like this. Now, it's supposed to be black. It'll need to be re-dyed, which is no big deal. It needs a few issues fixed with the cuff, which I've had leather jackets for years. I have no problem fixing and cleaning up something like this because I've had, geez, probably 200 or 300 good leather jackets in my day. I've kept 50 or so that fit me, and you'll see them in videos once in a while. I mean, we're wearing one. I wear pretty much exclusively vintage leather jackets. It's me. I've always had a leather jacket since I was like 16 or 17. But anyway, let's take this one off, and we're going to take a quick look at this and show you what to look for. This jacket cleaned up just a little bit, retoned back to black, is 175 to 250 in good condition. The inside's nice, everything else. It's missing the liner. I do have a liner that may fit this one. I also have the collar discs from another haul, which I can actually show you. Okay, so this is the jacket itself. A few things to instantly look for to know if it's a official police jacket or military or whatever the case may be. Usually only military uniform grade jackets have a actual steel or metal chain to hold the jacket up. Usually, and they're usually studded just like this. You'll see it in the back of the neck up there. You can see there should be two up there. And I always make sure those are always there. Those are solid, ready to go. Typically what you look for. Another thing to look for on dating these, if you know the state, if it has state, snaps, the correct ones. These are correct. These are earlier style too, so they're not the latest model. They've got them on the epaulettes too. You can see them there. There should be 4 of them in all the standard jackets that I've seen. Now, some have them on cuffs and some may have them on the back, but usually that's not the case. Usually they're just generic ones. A way to date these is usually they'll take the patch off. That's what I usually see. They don't want to sell anything that looks like it's a police or anything, but the patch size. I know this is New York City, so the patch should be a specific size from a specific time frame. So you can pretty much measure and see where that patch was to see what type of patch would have been on this to be able to date it correctly. Again, I'll put the correct pieces or ones that would go on a New York City jacket because I have them. And they are, you can tell for sure, there's the little pokey pieces that hold it in place. So again, I've got the right type that go on here. This is the other good thing that I usually look for. Now I know in typical cases you wouldn't want a patch that has some green on it, but that's from a brass, their badge being held on this jacket for many, many years. That's what it is. It's a legitimate, real deal. You can see where the pin sat on the other side. You can see the indentation. So those are all signs that I look for. Now, one of the other things is a pencil or pen holder up here, because they all have it. Everyone that I've ever seen has it. Now, I'm not going to show you a whole bunch on this one because it's got the prior owner's issuance number from New York City, NYC, New York City, and then TP, and it's a tracking number basically of who was issued the jacket. I'm not going to give that out, but you can also tell too that it's all black. There's a few stitching issues, I can fix that. There's a few cuff issues, I can fix that. It's pretty easy to restain one of these once you've done it a few times, so not a huge ordeal. I can actually fill in the little holes, but I'm gonna keep this one, I think, at 15 bucks. But again, here's another way to tell if they're early. The actual zipper pulls. They're talons, they're original, they're early. They're the bullet-shaped ones too, which I usually only see on like U.S. Army or usually firemen's jackets and police like this here. Excellent piece though. It's got the snaps on it. And there's a few issues with the snaps. They can be fixed, they can be repaired. Nothing on this is anywhere beyond, repair. It's a fully wearable piece as it is. I will recolor it in the whole works, but favorite haul piece, something I've been looking for a long time. I've had military bomber jackets. I've got a B1 that I still wear right now from World War II, the whole works, but this is going to be the first motorcycle police officer jacket that I've had in all these years. Being cheap with what I do, all 50 of my leather jackets, 51 or so now with this one here, have all come from hauls. So I paid 15 bucks for a personal jacket that I can wear. All of my other jackets came the same way. I wouldn't have spent full price for it, even though I've wanted one for a while, just because that's me. I like the thrill of being able to say I scored them all as a haul item like this leather jacket here, with like the snaps on it, with the New York City seal on it. Knowing buttons, knowing what an emblem and a seal looks like is super important if you're going to be in collectibles and stuff like this, because I instantly knew what this was, even though the sticker, the price thing on it didn't say that. The person who was selling this probably had no clue it was a New York City police officer's jacket at all. And that's usually, again, what I see with stuff like that. Even military items, they don't know if it's a Navy, they're not sure what the Marines are, they don't know the buttons from the States. The whole works. So that's an easy thing to learn that can give you some excellent knowledge where you can make a lot more money and score out on pieces like this. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Sounds like you've accidentally invented a thermochemical energy source.
A scientific wonder becomes a nightmare.
Someone's walking around with enough explosive to turn the city into a pancake.
A power that could mark the beginning of the end for the $6 Million Man.